All right, hey guys, I'm back. It is Unit 3, Video 6, and today we're going to kind of introduce the interaction order. So last time, and for the 5 previous videos, what we've been studying is social structure. So that pattern, or I'm sorry, that system of statuses and norms that largely serves to influence our behavior. The reason that social life looks so orderly is that we have a social structure which is influencing 300 million individuals to act in really predictable patterned ways. The word that we hate that is operant here is conformity. Um, Basically, the social structure influences us to conform. Now, really importantly, that never has to happen. You can always use your agency and say, yeah, I see that in this status, the norm for me is to do this, but that doesn't seem right to me. You've always got that. But of course, it's easier to understand that once you understand what's the water that you're swimming in. All right, for this video, all we're going to do is it's really a prelude to the next video, but it is necessary that I split the two things up. Two main points in this this sort of introduction to the interaction order. Oh, and as you can see, just for consistency's sake, we still have culture on this side, still the symbolic universe and the collective consciousness, the elements that are largely influencing our thoughts. On this side, we've got social structure, the interaction order, which is going to be our focus for this video and the next two, and then social institutions. I've just abbreviated that to draw your attention to the interaction order. Okay, so 2 points about the interaction order. First point is that it is where informal interactions happen. You want to think about these as things that don't seem all that crucial to the functioning of society. So me walking across campus, or you walking across campus, getting on an elevator, hanging out with your friends or family, but even things that are more intimate and that obviously matter more to you, but they just are not critical to society being able to meet the population's needs. Things like going on a date, and even things as intimate as an actual sexual encounter are things that we would consider part of the informal, part of the interaction order. Okay, so first point is that it encompasses all those informal interactions or informal situations. Second point, and one that is going to be critical and somewhat uncomfortable, is the fact that all of these things are patterned. So the things I just communicated to you, walking across campus, I did a stupid demonstration of that in a previous video where you walk for a while, drop your eyes, pretend somebody's not there, lift your eyes back up, smile or say hey or something like that, drop your eyes and keep walking. It's patterned, and you go across campus and that's what's going to happen. Getting on an elevator, we all do the same thing. We walk in, we either make eye contact or we don't, push a button, and then look up at the floors. And nowadays, that the actual pattern has changed a little bit. You may look at your phone for a while. But there are a billion things you could do in that space, right? I mean, you are not less capable of singing or dancing or whatever in an elevator than you are at your house. It's just we tend to conform to just a few possibilities. Hanging out with your friends or family, I made this argument in a previous video. In that case, the status is more the way they define us. We talked back when we dealt with symbols about the idea that every person, every individual carries meaning. I have a specific meaning to my wife, and if I don't conform to her expectations, it causes acrimony. We fight, and potentially that's how marriages break up, right? Is a person has an idea of another person, and they don't conform to that idea. Same thing's true with your group of friends, though. You behave in predictable ways because your friends expect that of you. And where this gets, to me, creepy, but it also is very illuminating, is the idea of a sexual encounter. Now, those are these amazingly vulnerable personal moments, but at the same time, they're patterned in a way that we tend to not think about it, because obviously we're not thinking about the pattern of our behavior when we're having sex with somebody. But the entire thing progresses in a pretty similar way, and it progresses in a similar way across American society, and in a different way than it would necessarily progress in a different society. The idea here is that even when we're in this incredibly passionate moment, there's a script that we're following, which is creepy to think about, and especially creepy as we talk more in the semester when we talk about gender. I'll talk about the fact that that script for us now in the 21st century is largely influenced by the pornography industry. But that's a talk for another day. All right, so we've got that they're informal. We've got that they're patterned. Those are our two main points. Last point of emphasis with regard to that idea of patterning. And I want to bring the master status concept back up. So when I'm walking across campus, I am in the status of person walking across campus. And what I do is what I told you I did before. But I want to suggest to you that there are master status elements to something like this that I don't face, but that every single woman who's watching this has obviously faced, which is if I'm walking across campus, I look up, make eye contact with somebody, say hey, and look down. If I'm a woman, chances are I am confronted with the idea that if it's a guy who is walking across campus toward me, he makes eye contact with me, drops his eyes down to look at my breasts or look at my legs or look at my stomach or whatever, but checks me out in a way that I then have to deal with. Now, how does a person deal with that? You deal with it whatever way you want. I'm not telling you how to deal with this, but what I am suggesting is there is an expectation for the status woman in our society, even today in the 21st century, which is endure. Don't make a big deal about it. Some guy checks you out, ignore, and keep walking. And what I want to point out to you is that that's a different expectation than what I have as a man. If I'm walking across campus and some guy makes eye contact and locks eye contact with me, then drops his eyes down, checks me out up and down, I'm supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be offended. I'm supposed to feel challenged in some way, that this person has exerted dominance over me in some, even if it's a non-physical way, and that it requires me to respond. Maybe to just be like, dude, what the hell? Or maybe to get more antagonistic than that. The point here is that even in that informal situation of walking across campus, there is more complexity than what I've initially described, but also even that complexity is patterned. A woman in that situation will respond, or is expected to respond, in a way according to the norm of being a woman. And the norm of being a woman in our society is to put up with being objectified in a way that a man in our society isn't. Okay, so those are our two main points. It's informal, it's patterned. I've now added some degree of complexity to it. You have questions about that, post on the discussion board. Next time, we are going to get into and this is where this is all leading, into two different conformity mechanisms, or processes that we are supposed to conform to. And they're different in a way that might at first be a little bit surprising. Not particularly difficult, but, well, hopefully interesting. All right, I will see you in that video.